So after watching the first 2 episodes of True Detective Night Country, it got me thinking, there's so much about the North that's just epic. But for those of us who live in the South, we hardly ever talk about it. Despite the moody detectives and thawing bodies, Night Country highlights a lot of important aspects of Northern science and research. So for the next few minutes, grab your warmest blanket and let's talk about why you should care about the Northern landscape. So for context, I've been working in the fields of Northern conservation and research for a while now, and I love all the unique aspects that make Northern ecology, people, and culture different than anywhere else. The connection to the land, waters, and wildlife is inherent when you talk to anyone living in a Northern community. But what's the first thing that pops into your head when I start talking about the North? Is it a snow and ice-filled wasteland? Is it polar bears, endless winter, or northern lights and glaciers? I've realized as I've learned more and more about the North, most people actually know very little. A stark example of this was recently in Canada's province of Manitoba. An Indigenous Premier was elected, which is amazing. But many Canadians started tweeting about how this was the first Indigenous Premier, when in fact, the Canadian territories have an extensive history of electing Indigenous Premiers. Just this highlights how the Northern Territories are often neglected from people's thoughts. Let's set the record straight. North isn't just a freezer. It's a unique and diverse collection of wildlife, plants, landscapes, and people that is all underpinned by the rich history of the Indigenous, Inuit, and Métis culture. This land is vast, it's magnificent, and it's undergoing constant change. All right, back to True Detective. This show does more than just give us chills. It's got these little nuggets of real deal Northern science.
They spent decades trying to sequence the DNA of an extinct microorganism. The permafrost is too hard.
Everything from the Salal research station and the research that was being conducted there, to the scientists who worked on the station, to the opening shots of the caribou, to the impact of extended darkness, to stuff that is being preserved in the ice, to mentions of permafrost. This show covers a lot of ground of what makes up the big questions when it comes to Northern science, but it also only begins to scratch the surface that is only possible in the North when it comes to science and research. But let's hit pause on the drama and talk real life. Arctic research stations are a real thing, and they're no joke. There are dozens of functioning research stations in real life that are doing incredible, groundbreaking work. For example, Scotty Creek Research Station in the Northwest Territories helps us understand more about permafrost and hydrology, and the station is actually owned and ran by an Indigenous community. And unlike the Salal Research Station, as far as I know, most Arctic research stations are not the subject of a major crime scene or the investigation of disappearing scientists.
She's awake.
Speaking of permafrost, it's like Earth's own time capsule, hiding ancient life and climate secrets in its frozen layers, just waiting to be unlocked as it thaws. It's a silent witness to history that when it starts to melt, can set off a chain reaction, releasing greenhouse gases that crank up the thermostat of the global climate. Plus, this frosty ground isn't just about science. It throws a curveball at engineers and planners in the Arctic, challenging them to outsmart its shifting, unpredictable Earth beneath the feet of the people who live there. And we can't complete this video without talking about the namesake of the show, Night Country. In polar regions, the 24-hour darkness of winter creates a realm where the usual rules of day and night are turned upside down, demanding extraordinary adaptations from wildlife and vegetation. animals like Arctic fox use their keen senses to hunt in complete darkness, while plants pause their growth, waiting for the return of the sun to restart their life cycle, while caribou seasonally change their eye color to catch every photon of light. This constant night sky isn't just a backdrop, it's a crucible of evolution, sculpting life in ways that astound and challenge our understanding of what it means to endure in extreme environments. So what's the big deal about the North, you ask? Well, it's part of our world that's as fragile as it is powerful and resilient. It's a storyteller of Earth's past, keeping records in ice, snow, and culture. Every thawing stream can whisper secrets about where we've been and where we might be headed. So yeah, True Detective is awesome, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. The North, it's the real deal. A unique place of wonder, science, diverse cultures and people, and a little bit of magic, and it deserves all of our attention. To that end, I encourage everyone to look into northern science and conservation topics, and do your own research to learn more about the North. To help you get started, I've attached 3 stories below that are worth your time. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this quick dive into northern ecology, and subscribe if you want to hear more stories about conservation, the environment, and the North. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.